Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to Living Well, the Ultimate Health Journey with me, Angel Conway, Dr. Philip Zini, Jovi Marie, and Alice Boswell. We are here to bring you all topics of health and wellness, self care, so you can live a life that you love in a healthy way. So I'm excited about this particular episode because this episode is really geared for you. So don't be shy, jump on in, ask your questions. We have Dr. Philip Zini, an amazing physician, here at your disposal to get your health questions answered. So without further ado, let me jump this off. With the first question, one that hits home for me since we've been talking about um, uh, vaccines and making sure that we are getting our questions answered and making sure that we are taking our health back into our own hands, right? So, Dr. Philip Zini, can you please tell the good people about what informed consent is and what it's not?
So, informed consent, in its really simplest form, means that you know everything about the risks, the benefits, the advantages, the disadvantages, the pros and the cons of anything that's going to be done to you. So, it could be something as simple as getting an injection, or it could be something as complicated as having open heart surgery. Everything is supposed to be explained to you in lay terms, not medical mumbo jumbo jargon that you have no idea what that means, but in simple lay terms of what, again, what the risks are, what the benefits, advantages, disadvantages, pros and cons. So, um, from an injection standpoint, you should always know what are the pros and cons. So, for example, um, in the beginning, when they first came out with the influenza vaccination, the pros were that it was supposed to help give you immunity to the latest cycle of influenza, and that was the proposed benefit. The risk was that you could not receive the benefit, or some of the disadvantages is you could get mild flu-like symptoms, or you could feel kind of punky. So all that is detailed and explained and written out that you could view in your own language, no matter what is your native language, so that you can understand and then make that informed decision. And that's what informed consent is that you have all the information you need in order to make an informed decision for your health.
Awesome. Thank you for that thorough explanation. So I do have a really quick question to kind of
Mhm,
segue off of that one.
mhm,
So when you feel like you're being pressured into a medical decision, which is
mhm.
something like obviously it should be your decision, but I felt pressured on many occasions during childbirth. That was a crazy experience with the events that happened. But certain interested instances in my health, regarding my health, I felt like I was being pressured to make a decision to do something. Like, how can we, be our best advocates in standing up for ourselves?
So, your kind of intuition, your gut check, is usually a pretty good one. And even in the medical community, when we're doing a procedure, we always do a pause. And that pause is for, and it's going to sound ridiculous, but it's really rudimentary things like, is this the right patient? So you ask them to repeat their name. Is this the right birth date to validate that it's the right person? Are you operating on or are you performing the procedure on the correct body part? So it seems kind of rudimentary, but unfortunately, in today's world, you have to kind of take that pause just to make sure. Same thing on the other side of the scalpel, the patient should take a pause. If they're feeling kind of pressured or they're not getting all their questions answered, just pause and say, you know, I'm not really feeling comfortable. I think I'm going to come back, or I'm going to reschedule, or something like that. Or if you're really kind of forward and aggressive, you can just say, I don't have enough information. Can you explain, ABC to me? Or I understand ABC, explain XYZ, or something like that. But unfortunately, in today's world, you have to be your own advocate. And if you can't be your own advocate, then bring someone along. And maybe the other person could be kind of detached and they could be your advocate for you.
I
But you
love
should never
that.
feel pressure.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome.
So, Jovi, do we have any questions for Dr. Zini from the audience?
So I know that you had mentioned for for them to take at least someone else with them, Dr. Philip. And
Mhm.
that's one of the important things that a lot of people don't understand, that they have that option as well.
So not only do they have that option, but I always tell people to write down their questions ahead of time, because in the exam room, they either get flustered or they get caught up in so much of one question and an answer, they forget something else. So I tell them, write it down, bring it in, and then we'll answer all your questions. Also, usually the other individual in the room is that advocate. So, for example, I saw a husband and wife team yesterday, and um, I love this dynamic. She was trying to be, the hard one to make sure that she got all the questions answered and everything asked, and it was almost like, good cop, bad cop, or however that goes. Um, but I understood where she's coming from. So I tried to calm her down and let her know that whatever questions she has, they would get answered. And then we would always help out with that.
Thank you so much for that response. I'm not sure this is saying, do we have another question from the audience right now?
Let me check. So I am checking a few because we are live on Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube. So I know that we are getting all those questions and answers for Dr. Philip. Right now, let me see if there's any questions. I know we had a question that we left off on last week, Dr. Philip, that you were
Mhm.
going to answer. I know it was about weight loss and anxiety as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
To piggyback on that as well.
yeah, yeah. So I actually had a patient today who had both issues, anxiety and weight reduction issues. And unfortunately, she was severely overweight. In medical terms, we call it morbid obesity. And she was trying to figure out how to approach weight reduction. And really, what it comes down to is understanding what the root cause is. for the weight gain, because it's not always, you can't control what you eat, or you might be anxious. There could be underlying causes for that. So metabolism could be off, the thyroid could be off, there could be pro-inflammation, there could be musculoskeletal issues, and people just can't exercise properly, or they have digestive issues and they're not metabolizing food. So there's root causes that we look at first. And then there's also the root causes for anxiety and depression, a low vitamin D level, or maybe some other vitamin levels and mineral levels could be off balance. And again, when we talked about inflammation, that could affect what's called the neuroendocrine axis, the nerve kind of metabolism and hormone kind of axis. So there's many different things that could be a cause. So when I was talking to this patient, I asked her if she had any underlying issues, and she said she had a thyroid issue, and it was being treated with levothyroxine, which is always the go-to when a practitioner or clinician doesn't have enough time. They just throw a pill at it and hope that helps. But there was no other addressing the thyroid function. So I said, you should really dive deep into the thyroid function. And then based on that, we then got into some immune issues that could affect thyroid. So we talked about gut health and how gut health could be part of the issue. And not to get too off here, but it just kind of ties everything together. So at the very end of the meeting, she said, wow, no one had ever talked to me about how all this stuff plays together. And she said, how did you know? And I stepped back, and took me a few seconds to compose myself. And I said, sometimes God just screams at me. And I said, I got to listen to him. So he was telling me everything that was going on, because this was just a physical for a new job. So I never knew this person from before, had no interaction with this individual from before. But that's what happens when you listen. So it was a beautiful meeting. At the end, she asked me if I could hug her. And I hugged her, and she squeezed the life out of me. And I thought I was never going to get out of that hug. But that kind of let me know that she really didn't have anyone there for her. And no physician ever really listened to her. And that's what we're really supposed to do, right? We're just supposed to listen. And goes back to one of the only lessons I learned in medical school was, if you listen to someone long enough, they'll tell you what the problem is. So in this case, I just listened to God. He knows everything. And he just kind of told me what was going on. But that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to listen.
I love that. I love that. You said some things that I want to get back to later. However, we have a question from the audience. Tanya says, why does the thyroid slow down, and what can she take to speed it up to lose weight?
That's an excellent question, because again, most mainstream physicians, they'll see maybe the TSH is a little bit high, or free T4 is a little bit low, which is the only test they usually do. And then they'll just throw some thyroid at it, and then hope that that will kind of jumpstart the metabolism. However, if there's an immune response and the thyroid produces free T4, and at the cell level, it gets converted to free T3. But if there's a autoimmune response, if there's an inflammatory response, then that free T4 does not get converted to free T3, or it's greatly diminished. And as a result, you can throw as much free T4 at it, like levothyroxine or Synthroid, It's not going to do a thing. So that's why you have to look at the whole thyroid function, the whole body, and then make sure that you're recommending the right type of thyroid medication, and then also supplements to help out with reducing inflammation, reducing the oxidative stress, helping to boost the immune system, helping to boost the thyroid function. So I wish, Tanya, I had a simple, just like one answer, but it's not. The body is a wonderfully integrated, kind of intricate dance. And you have to look at everything in order to see how it's all kind of choreographed, works together, and then you can help out with kind of making certain parts work better, and then see how that affects something else, and then kind of a cascading effect. So hopefully that gave you enough information, Tanya.
I believe it was. So, do you have anything you can recommend to boost your immune system and to get rid of the inflammation?
Yeah. So if you look at everything kind of from a cellular perspective, inside the cell, that's where the mitochondria are. That's the little furnace, the little activator for creating energy. It's the one that helps with cell replication. So inside the cell, you want to boost glutathione production because at age 20 it starts to drop off, and by age 40 it's pretty precipitously low. So as a result, you want to boost glutathione. So for that, we have a product called Glutamist, which is something that you can just spray in your mouth at night. So that's on the inside of the cell. And then on the outside of the cell, you want to help out with reducing inflammation, which is kind of the fire that ravages the cell and ravages the body. So one of the best ways to reduce inflammation is with one of the most potent fruit-based antioxidants called mangosteen. So we have something called Xanthomist, and it's in an orange spray bottle. So it kind of almost looks like a little mini fire extinguisher, which is apropos, right? You want to put out the fire, the inflammation, so you can use that. Then the next is you want to get to the core of the cell, and you want to boost the nutrition, the minerals, the vitamins, and we have a foundational supplement called the Ultimate Vitamin. And then finally, to boost the immune system in general, we have all the superfruits put together into one product called Super 7. So that's kind of our foundation. And anyone that takes any type of a one a day or any type of a supplement really should be doing something foundationally to support their body every day. And that's probably the simplest and the easiest way to do that.
Oh, that's awesome, Dr. Philip. So we do have another question from the audience. Tom the man said, can you really drink too much water?
So rarely I see this, and it's usually when we're doing a drug test and someone will have kind of like a shy bladder type of reaction where they know they have to urinate, so they drink a lot of water in order to try to make their body urinate. So that can happen. It's pretty darn rare. Now, the caveat is that's a healthy organism. Someone that has kidney disease, someone that's on dialysis, yes, they can drink too much water or too much fluids. But as long as you have healthy kidneys and as long as you have a healthy kidney bladder function, you really can't drink too much water. What I usually advocate is when you go to the bathroom, when you urinate, if it's relatively clear and not bright yellow, chances are you're getting enough water. If it's bright yellow, except for the first thing in the morning, if it's bright yellow or relatively darker yellow, then that means you're not getting enough water. So it's a real easy way to to check. Just make sure that it's clear, and you go into the bathroom about every 2 hours, and then you're getting you're getting enough water, I should say.
Awesome. So, for everyone wondering where you can get those pinned, um, uh, my mind's drawing a blank here. The pinned pictures that we posted, you can look at the bottom, and it's coming up here. You can go to wellbeingpath.myctfo.com, wellbeingpath.myctfo.com to check them out. So,
yeah, and there's some awesome explanatory videos there. There's background information. It's a wealth of information for individuals too.
absolutely. So let's see if there's any more questions we have. Let's see. So Anna says, do the food pyramid or plate appropriately give us the things that we need to stay healthy?
So, unfortunately, the food pyramid, the healthy plate, kind of got co-opted by the big corporate agricultural food complex. So, in general, a relatively plant-based diet is good for you. But by plant-based, what I'm referring to is vegetables. Those are always good because they're going to give you a combination of vitamins and minerals. Fruits are also good, but they should be used, for me, in the way I look at people and their diet, a little bit sparingly. And then as far as a protein source, a plant-based protein source is good. So nuts and seeds, maybe avoid peanuts. Those may not be the best for you. Lentils are good. And then animal proteins, usually fish is best. So wild caught salmon or line caught salmon or tuna, something that's a deep ocean or cold water fish is better. Then comes chicken, then pork and lamb and beef, and anything that could be as organic as possible. The only reason why you didn't hear me mention the quote starchy type things like the bread type things is because unfortunately we don't have a real good non-GMO based grain system in the United States. So if you can get something that's non-GMO, then you're probably going to tolerate it. If you can't, then you might want to avoid that because those things have a tendency to be kind of pro-inflammatory. So the bottom line is load up on the vegetables, lean proteins, a little bit sparing on fruit. Healthy fats are okay as long as they're, again, in moderation. And then that should be okay. Which really dovetails into our next question from Wendy. Can heart disease be hereditary? Yes, it can be, but all too often, all diseases are usually kind of culturally hereditary. And what I mean by that is, so you may have grown up in a house where the only thing you ate was meat and potatoes, or you may have grown up in the deep South and everything was deep fried and breaded. So I think it's more cultural than hereditary. And one of the reasons why I believe that is there was a cardiologist from Stanford, Dr. Dean Ornish, who, this was back in the 90s, did some very good studies. And he showed that when you put people on a healthy diet. And at that time, he was advocating the Mediterranean diet. And the Mediterranean diet is just what we kind of talked about already, which is predominantly vegetables, lean proteins like fish, um, good fats like olive oil and avocado oil and coconut oil, and eliminating as much grains and starches as possible. He was actually able to reverse heart disease because he was a cardiologist. He was able to do arteriograms. This is where they inject a dye into the arteries of the heart muscle. And in the beginning, he showed an occlusion, which means that the vessel may look like a big open tube when it's healthy, but when it's occluded, it's really kind of closed off. So these people had occlusion, and then following this diet for 8, 16, 32 weeks, it would open up again. So he was able to reverse heart disease. So that's another kind of reinforcement that it's not so much genetically hereditary as I believe it's more culturally hereditary. You know, you do what your family usually does. So hopefully that answered your question, Wendy.
Absolutely. So what are your thoughts on using grapeseed oil? I know you mentioned coconut oil, avocado. What about grapeseed oil?
Yeah, so grapeseed is okay. The only reason I didn't mention it is you can't always find it. If you do find it, it's in like Whole Foods, and that's like a payday in order to get through the cashier. In other words, it's kind of expensive. Bad joke. But no, it's good if you can find it.
Awesome. Okay. So we have a question from Wendy. She says, "What is good to take for a healthy heart? I have family that have a bad heart."
So again, you want to have a good foundation. So anything that could reduce the oxidative stress, and again, that's the glutathione product that'll help out on the inside of the cell, and anything to help reduce the inflammation on the outside of the cell, and that's the mangosteen product. And then our foundational vitamin and immune, because again, most inflammatory conditions are an underlying immune issue. And then there are some specific supplements. And without knowing your history, I'm just going to throw names out there. And then, depending on your history, your condition, you may need more or less of something like L-arginine or alpha lipoic acid, um, NAC, and NSK, and I think those are the big ones that help out with kind of cardiovascular function. And again, this is the real importance for vegetables. Vegetables are a natural source of potassium. And there is so much sodium that's kind of snuck into the American diet that your body is trying to get rid of sodium. And the way that it gets rid of sodium is by using potassium to couple with it. So that's why it's really important to make sure you get enough vegetables so you're getting enough natural potassium.
So we have.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So Bridget asked about black seed oil. I don't really use it that much. For me, my mainstays of oils are really, like I mentioned, olive oil, avocado, coconut. If you can find it, and it's not too expensive, grapeseed. Um, Oils can be a little bit on the bad side. And what I mean by that is they could be giving you unnecessary fat calories. So that's why all the other oils I mentioned are usually used for seasoning. So as a result, they're going to be beneficial and usually not used in a overabundance. for a perfect example. I once had a Hispanic patient and doing everything right, and was just not reducing weight and was not reducing cholesterol. So finally, I had the individual bring in their, because they love guacamole, I had them bring in their food diary, and they were eating 1 or 2 avocados a day. So even though avocado is a good vegetable, if you have too much of a good thing, it's just too much. Because I think a whole avocado is something like 1,000 calories. It's something ridiculous. So if you're trying to do a little bit of a negative caloric balance, then that's way too much.
I even thought like, wow, I love guacamole. I had some yesterday on my Chipotle, and I'm gonna finish it today. Um, well, maybe not. It's kind of late, but tomorrow for sure. I even thought 2 avocados a day. That's pushing it, but I didn't know it's about 1,000 calories. That's a lot.
Yeah, someone will fact check me, I'm sure, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty darn high on what the caloric content is.
I know sometimes we recommended half a small of avocado. So yes, one full large avocado is a lot, or even 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Let's see here. So again, you can get those products at wellbeingpath.myctfo.com. Do we have any more questions for us in the audience as we begin to wrap this up?
I don't see any, Angel.
Alrighty. So I guess right now this is the segment where we do our takeaways. And so I will start with myself. So thank you so much, Dr. Zini, for coming through as always to share with us all things health and wellness, and what we can do to live healthier lives. And when we can live healthier lives, we can actually live our life and experience everything that it has for us. So it's been a great discussion. Thank you all so much for the comments. I've learned a lot. I plan to implement a lot of things. And so the avocado really got me. Now I have to really go and check how much avocado I'm really eating now, because I will max some avocado. So yeah, I wonder too why it seems they will give you such a small portion of it. I'm like, no, I want, more bang for my buck, you know. So that makes sense now, because they're probably doing it calorie wise. They're giving you pieces of calorie wise. So, so yes, that's one of my takeaways for tonight. Jovi, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Phillip. Truly grateful for you, Angel, and also Alice, and for you answering all these questions for all of our audience out there, and always helping us out, Dr. Phillip. We're truly grateful for you. The takeaway as well, everything, especially with the heart disease that you went through, and it just made sense. So just the overall of all the healthy components that you're implementing for us. So I'm truly grateful for that. And take it away, Dr. Phillip.
So I'll start off with being humble and having humility, because I was fact checked by my wife in the background, and she said a whole avocado is 250. So that means 2 avocados is 500 calories, which is about a quarter of your calories that the average adult should take in a day. So, okay, I grossly exaggerated. Sorry, I apologize, but at least you kind of get the gravity. I mean, you're getting, a quarter of your calories if you're eating 2 avocados, just in there. So with that, just listen to yourself, and always be ready to be accountable to someone. Always be humble, to accept correction, to accept that we're all fallible, we all need help. And if you kind of pursue life with that type of mentality, you'll always better yourself, and you always will climb the ladder to a better self, a better you.
Awesome. Love that takeaway. Well, guys, until next time, we are Living Well, the Ultimate Health Journey with I, myself, Amy Conway, Dr. Philip Zini, Jovi Marie, and Alice Boswell. We will be back here next week at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, Wednesday, to give you a discussion on all things health and wellness. Until next time, be well.